I want to show you guys a quick way to do some calculations on Google Sheets, and I want to show you how to plot those graphs. Even though you've seen this before, we'll show you again just to refresh your memory on it here. In your first experiment here, you've got 3 columns in your data table. You've got trial 1 through 10. You've got the current that goes with each of those trials, and then you've got the mass. It's in quotation marks because, of course, it's not really a mass. It's just what the scale thinks is mass. It's measured in grams. In your analysis table, you need 1 additional column. That column is going to be force, so we're going to type that in, label it newtons. Okay, the heading of the column is there. Now we just need to fill in the values of the column. Now, we could, if we wanted to, literally on our calculator, go 0.08, divide it by 1,000, times it by 9.81, good to go. Do that 10 times, good to go. Or, watch carefully. You can also enter a formula into the spreadsheet and then copy that formula. We can press equals. That's always the way we start off a formula, with equals. Equals, and then I like to use brackets, okay? Never hurts to use brackets. The first thing that we want to divide by 1,000 is that 0.08 number. So what you can do is literally just click on that 0.08 number. It's telling you that it's actually cell C, row 2, but you don't need to even type that in. You can just click on the cell if you want. Divide by 1,000, end the bracket, and then what do you got to do? And you got to multiply it by 9.81, right? Press enter. There's my magnetic force. Done. Now that's not really any quicker than doing it on a calculator, but if you do this, click the bottom right hand corner, drag it down, that's a lot quicker than doing it on a calculator. Now all your magnetic forces are calculated for that one experiment. That make sense? Now, Mason was asking me a few minutes ago, can you refresh my memory on how to plot the graph here? Yes, I can. We want to plot current and magnetic force here, right? If we got 2 columns that are right beside each other, it's easy. All you have to do is literally highlight those 2 columns and then go through the process. If you got 2 columns that aren't beside each other, like column B and column D, you got a couple of options. You can either delete column C and then highlight just the 2 columns that you want that are right beside each other, or alternatively, you can literally just highlight the first column, the X column, whatever's going to go on your X-axis. You're going to insert a chart. Now, you want to select another range. We've only selected our X range right now. So we're going to click on this little cell up here to select another range, which is going to be my Y column. That's magnetic force. So this is my X, this is my Y. Column B, column D. Let's click OK. Now, we don't want a bar graph. We want to create a scatter plot. So I'm going to go over here into charts, scroll down here to scatter plot, pick the first option, and it should look like that. Make sense? There it is. And Mason, that worked out to be a nice straight line, exactly what we expected, right? Now, we got to label some things. So let's go into here under Advanced Options or Advanced Edit. Let's change the name of that title. It should be Magnetic Force versus, that was current, wasn't it? Magnetic force versus current. That's our title. Okay, we should label the x-axis. Okay, our axis horizontal should be labeled current, and it's in amps. Now let's change the y-axis. The left vertical axis should be magnetic force. That's in newtons. Now let's scroll down here all the way to the bottom. Add a trend line. It should be linear, right? It's pretty clear that that's a straight line. Add a linear trend line. Scroll down a little bit further and label it with your equation. Label it with your equation. So if you take a look at that graph now, let's update it. Back into my spreadsheet now should be a nice updated graph with all of my axes labeled, my title there, and the equation describing this graph. You can see that the slope of the graph is 6.64 times 10 to the minus 3. It's always the y equals mx plus b. See, the y-intercept is so ridiculously small that it just doesn't matter. The slope is 6.64 times 10 to the 3. You use the value of that slope to turn around and calculate the magnetic field strength. Does that make sense, guys? Mason, is that good?